Okay, so apparently we're streaming, so we have a look if that's working on OBS. We change our platform, so let's continue our playthrough of Warhammer. I know 3 games coming in at the same time. I like how dark it is. So from last time we are a Psyker who will be dogmatic, as I'm using power related to the God Emperor. Basically, my head, my power comes from my faith in him.
The Navigator's Sanctum is directly along the passageway. I pray to the God Emperor that we are not too late.
And so, he will enter the halls of the blinded guide and witness the radiance of the final dawn through the cracks and fall victim to a whim of fate.
Master, watch your head. Idira, would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Sorry, old man. The voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abelard, how they sing!
This is Idira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valancius. Idira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate. To die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn. And in the roaring blaze, I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
The entity in your consciousness shrinks and crawls in deep, its claws scraping against the walls of your mind, as if the presence is trying to hide from the seer standing before you. How divine are you?
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud. And you, von Valancius, are a sorcerer too. Just like the other one. Lady Theodora must have grown so fond of psychers she wants one to replace her.
Just followed you all the way here. Theodora's power is given way to employees, making for Lunge counter-attack.
That's Edelthrat! Oh, Emperor's Providence! The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelthrat's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it! You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
Why are you doing here?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the engineerium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master Cog, and the silence that followed.
What? You don't mean the Engineer Prime is...
Said, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the Navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the Navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
But apart from that, how did you know?
What? You think Lady Theodora didn't ask me to peek into the darkness behind the backs of those she sees as her prospective heirs? I have seen you. I have seen the footsteps of your past and the wounds of your heart.
The sheer words bring back away from the memories of the bitter, humiliating moments of your greatest shame. Something sour rushes to your tongue. Head is clouded with a sickening sense of burns. You must see if the navigator is well.
Oh no. No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity. But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive. Did you want something?
Don't you dare to cross us!
well. Was that you? Or... Will do.
It will be done. Reduce the dust! Indeed. I took care of this one.
Anything else?
Pathetically sound of it. It will be done.
The creature in the chair appears as if has been become one of its throne. You see pink, parchment-like skin stretched between the seat and the limbs to have too many joints for a normal human being. The navigator is breathing heavily, the air whistling because there's two dark gale-like slits in his cheeks. The creature's eyes are shut, two ordinary eyes as well as the head of the sixth sense of the throat. I believe, Master Abelard. I believe Master Vespidas still lives. Abelard flinches at the sight of the stretched skin and the dark mark on the face of the creature. The servants are dead, but the chamber, thank the Emperor, is still sealed. Well, we have a chance of living this place alive. I look at Idira and Trompe. Idira winces, wounded, exhausted, fighting back the endless horrors of the war that are forcing their way into his head. The navigator stares, barely able to lift his head and his eyes. Dark jewels, blood that bleeds, dying down his face, even it isn't clear how navigating is able to produce this image. Our time is short to do what? Suddenly the navigator's body starts thrashing in place. It lurches forwards, then falls back into the seat. Thrust forward again as its bones crack and its skin tears open. However, the fusion between the body and the chair appears to be stronger than its wild impetuous. The mutant remains seated, but leans as far forward as he can. His layer remains slowly turning crimson. The gill slits burst open, forming two hideous screaming mouths in pits. Fall to your knees, Lord, and behold the final doom. Tira shrieks in terror. It came from beyond. His body is not his. Tira screams is echoed, but the silent cries in your head. The unseen creature triumphs at the sight of the navigators, succumbing to the proximus of corruption. The speed of the spaders. Its march thunders under the burden of hopes. Unseal your hearts, and I will float your souls with myriads of worlds and words and minutes, each one a portent of salvation within. The navigator continues to convulse violently in his seat, shrieking and cackling. Then his feet stops absurdly. His face is drenched in black and crimson. The dark ooze from under his layered eyelids has turned from a trickle into stream mixed with blood coming out of his nose, and there is purplish swelling around his arm. Run! Free from this place while I still have the strength. The words come out of voice as correctly. I can contain the intrusion, but not for long. I must begin the translation. Leave the work. I can't be done without the master helps me help. Who torments you? The edge. The navigator starts thrashing about once more. His gill mouth bursting with praise and laughter. Kneel before the ascent of a new champion. The rite is complete. This shell will burst. Thousands of bulls will accept the sacrifice offered to the edge of daybreak by the bringer of twilight. One marked by the will of the gods. Each word rings through your head like a tolling of a bell, as its countless voices have joined in, screaming into your ears. For a moment, you lose your breathing, your bearings. This unholy chorus must be trying to confound you with sounds not meant for this world. Hey guys, what is this supposed to mean? Alright? Sacrifice offered. Oh, my heart tells me that Conrad was not deferred by his defeat in the warrant's chamber. What? Conrad betrayed Lady Theodora? Idilla clenches her head. But how is that? How? He was a lawyer as a dog, and I didn't hear a thing, I swear. The navigator, rather the thing that is determined to seize his body and property to walk him after. The footholds of the bringer of twilight, the veil, wolves and masters. Tear out your eyes, she who is became the champion servant, you need them no longer. I cannot bear to see his agony any longer. I would rather put an end to this. You can't. It's only thanks to Master of Speeders that we are still alive. If he falls, this whole ship is doomed. She catches her breath. Let him do his duty. You know it's the last thing he will do. If he lasts that long. Well, I want to tell you, to help you. Tell me how. The navigator takes a ragged breath. Run! The sanctum will be sealed. I will hold it off. Hold on. and wait for the signal from the Master Helmsman. Then I will commence the translation. So, run, run! Abelard, the navigator is still alive, but Benson, what do we do? The seneschal gazes at the figure in the chair. The ship can only begin the translation with the assistance of the Master Helmsman, if he is still alive. It is worth a try. We must get to the bridge, but we will need support. Our only option is to fight our way to the officer decks and join forces with Edelhard and his people. I believe we will also find Lady Theodora there. She must have heard the call to arms that some school relates to us earlier. Hydra reaches a hand out towards the navigator, but pulls it back at the last moment. Despite this, good luck, and thank you. The navigator does not give a response. Black tears mixed with blood are streaming from under his closed eyelids, and the voice at the base of the chair is bellowing out static, interspread with distant echoes of otherworldly laughter. The navigator appears dead. Only the slight movement of his chest and the twitching of his eyelids let you know that he is still clinging to life.
I dare not provoke the whispers. Quiet. They're trying to tell me something.
A piece of pipe left is dead.
A nice little stroll.
Warrant chamber, navigator sanctum, officers decks. That's where we were trying to go.
Ship's as good as ours! It's all over for you!
I shall pity not your enemies. I shall heed not their pleas.
Somebody shoot these
Shall betray not your tenets, nor stray one step from them. Take not your gaze from me. Leave me not without your grace.
I told you he would protect us.
God, my light, my emperor.
The white-haired warrior turns to face you, her dark eyes blazing. The weapon quivers in her hands, and for a brief moment, it seems she is not going to stop and will instead continue eliminating every target she sees, starting with you.
Sister Argenta! Sister Argenta, it is a relief to see you. We require all the forces we can muster.
Your face. It is unfamiliar. Who are you?
Nethys von Valentius, the Lord Captain there.
The hour is dark and daunting. The ship abounds with corruption. The faces of friends who are twisted by sneers of heresy. The eyes of comrades ignite with the archenemy's hunger. I will do what I must to halt the advance of the Dark Forces. But in these dire moments, little can be trusted. So I must know, why are you here?
Sister, I beg of you. Now is not the time for interrogations. The ship is under attack by heretics. We've been betrayed by our esteemed Master of Whispers. Edelthrad the Heir is waiting for our aid, and Lord Captain Theodora is expecting a report on our success. We are here to deal with the situation, so I suggest we all do just that.
Do not even think to insinuate I am one of the traitors. I will not let such a affront slide.
That answer does you credit. Only the truly righteous would be so provoked by the accusation of heresy. I cannot wait to rain righteous fire down upon each and every heretic!
What is a warrior of the Adepta Sororitias doing aboard the rogue trader ship? You're the selves, the Ecclesiarchy, do they not?
Sister Argenta is a guest of the Lord Captain. And that story deserves its own time and conversation. Under more appropriate circumstances.
Enough idle chatter. I am where I must be, and that will suffice.
And who are those peoples with you?
Overseer of Middle Deck AL-84, my lord. We were rounding up everyone we could find in the attack compartments when we ran into an ambush. Just about every enforcer fell. These are the survivors.
Do you know what's happening on officers' decks?
Massacre, my lord. And heretics are not just killing the crew. Some kind of blight is sweeping through the decks, filling the air. I saw people going mad the moment they breathed it in, screaming about their dead comrades, tearing out their eyes. I implore you, my lord, be on your guard.
We must get to the main hall of the deck.
Through this door. I shall join you, for it is my duty to the God Emperor to destroy this heresy.
We will follow. For now, we will hold off any heretics who might try to crawl in through the cracks to join the main assault. And we'll take a look at the generators while we're at it. Those villains made a mess of the cables. Oh, I wish we had a Tectomat with us. But we'll see what we can do without one.
Good to hear it. Sister?
Ready. May Terra's light illuminate our path through fire and darkness.
That's where I come from.
The future is never certain.
The generators hum softly. When you draw closer, your skin begins to tingle from a static discharge.
Whatever you wish.
The door is closed, but the lock looks intact. It can probably be opened with the right tool. The extension blasted a hole through the door. The explosion blasted out through the door, large enough for a person to get through. The door will not move an inch. It has
Run, fools, or fall!
Crush him!
Oh, my ears are ringing.
That is not the Emperor's will.
Will do.
At your beck and call, viewer target. I'm not interested. I'd rather not. It will be done.
I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury! I'll do it. Each strike is a blow. Doubt is for the weak. Rejoice in battle!
On it.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. Indeed.
Guided by faith.
They who discern the future own the battlefield. Anything else?
Follow my lead. Someone else can do this. I will do like you.
The exact replica of the Von Valencia's void ship sits on a pedestal. Labels indicate the main compartments and decks of the vessel.
Say no more.
Titles and authors are printed in the gold of the spikes of the books. The library contains works of Imperium theology, law codices, biographical sketches, and chronicle of the greatest military conflict of the Coronus Expanse and Calix sectors.
Something ominous lurks ahead. I dare
This
not
ocular
provoke the
implant was a
whispers.
worthwhile investment.
I go where the whispers lead.
The cozy setting area is completely destroyed. Pieces of furniture and splinters are scattered everywhere, and dark chains cover the floor of the repository. The Cognito is silent. It seems like this machine's spirit is no longer being powered by the motive force.
The light of terror shines for us. Never doubt me.
What advice do you seek? Marching on.
It's pretty deep to go further. Could be better. Who yield or falter in the courage will be executed in disgrace, a traitors to this house, and aborted of the enemies of the humanity. Cast aside your doubts, for they are to open the door to the curse of. Fallen steel has blocked the path to the lifts. You will have to look for another way to Eldenwood.
If such is the Emperor's will, we should deal with this.
The benches and even the cogitator torn from the proper place are stacked in a rough semblance of barricades. The roar of flames rings in your ears, and the choking smoke makes you cough and gasp for air. You instinctively recoil from the scorching heat, wiping your face. A moment later, a hazy silhouette forms in the raging wall of fire. You are surrounded by ear-splitting noise and screaming, yet you distinctly hear the sound of footsteps. Then you see the figure walk out of the fire towards you. It is Theodora von Valencius. Her expression is calm, terrifyingly so for someone whose body is engulfed in an inferno. One of her hands is resting on the hilt of the power sword, the other is raised in an inviting gesture. Are you lost, my heir? Argenta goes as still as a statue and slowly raises his weapon. An apparition, a sorceress apparition, trickery of the warp. Sister, you will lower your weapon. Despite his commanding tone, Abelard does not sound too confident. He starts staring at the rogue trader, and you notice a muslinish cheek twitching. Threatening the Lord Captain is outrageous. Aren't you in pain? Pain is but a reflection of one weakness, and that is to renounce weakness of spirit in pursuit of greatness is the only path to hide worthy of a rogue trader. Theodora watches you without blinking. The snail-like gaze almost makes you forget about the fire searing you, leaving burns on your skin. I can lead you out of these flames, Nevis. Show you a path. Rid you of pain. Give you a weapon so that you may defeat your enemies. Decide. The mouth begins to salivate. Each word that I speak is like music to your ears. The entity that now dwells in the deepest recesses of your mind is pleading, begging, demanding that you give her an immediate answer, and that answer can be nothing other than acceptance. Do not listen to this abomination. That is, if there is not but his light in your heart, if you are resolute in your faith, then step into the flames. The Emperor protects his faithful, will not be deferred by either darkness or deceitful promises, nor will the fire burn those who carry the torches of faith in your soul. To the void with you. We need to follow Lady Theodora before we suffocate in the furnace. The people, Abelard, look back at the coffin and confused people around you. Netis, survivors from the middle deck. We must help the crew, lead them out, find a way around. Of the roaring flames you hear distant sound. Frightened voices, screams, muffled and distorted as if there is one body of water between you and them. Then we'll miss our chance to meet Abelard. Dira breaks off and starts coughing violently. Her knees buckle and she looks like she's about to fall. That is, what are we waiting for? The Emperor will guide the righteous on their path. Thousands of needles pierce your consciousness, but are powerless to stop you. You take a step forward, the illusion breaks. A wave of excruciating pain crashes over you, and Theodora's voice fades into the firestorm. You hear the voice of your companions calling you from behind, and the screams of the weak dying in the inescapable blaze. The blinding inferno, the harrowing pyre, an all-consuming storm releases you as you step out, barely able to stay at your feet. The blood is pounding in your eyes, drowning out the world around you. Your eyes, caked in soot and burned eyelashes, refuse to open. Freed from the flames, you take 2 more steps before collapsing to your knees. The rush of blood in your temples and the horrible pain all over your scorched body cloud your mind. Before suddenly retreating as if driven away by some mighty will. A new strength spread throughout your veins, and despite the wounds, your body is once more ready for the trials and struggle. You open your eyes and see, aglow with warm light before you, the Aquila, the sacred symbol of the Imperium. In the next moment, you are stricken with another realization. The repulsive presence, the one that has plagued your mind since Voidveer wounded you, is gone. The fire seems to have burned the entity away without a trace.
Master, can you hear me? Oh, you're alive. Which is more than I was expecting after what you just did.
Praise the Emperor! We passed through the flames! How can this be anything but a portent? For so it is said, that the Emperor will bless the worthiest and most steadfast in their faith.
Behind Argenta, you see Idra at last, doubled over in a fit of nausea. The rest of the people who were following you have withered away in a fire that continues to rage mere 2 steps away from you. The Emperor protects Seneschal.
Indeed he does. Huh, if I hadn't seen it myself, I never would have believed.
What happened to Lady Theodora? Did she follow us?
There was no Theodora, witch. There was an illusion, a temptation, a foul taint that tried to lead us astray. But he perceived its true nature.
Is that right, Adepta Sanctimonious? What, we'll just pretend like we didn't see the Lord Captain standing there in the fire? Abelard, you tell her!
Whatever it was, it matters no longer. Your conduct is bordering on madness, or holiness. A path opened behind you, where one moment there was fire, the next only smoldering embers remain. But what am I saying? My eyes must have deceived me. Too much smoke for my lungs. Truly, would you have received wounds like these if there had been no fire?
The wounds are merely a sign of a trial laudably passed. It is something to be proud of, the same as decorations or badges of honor.
No elements holds power over the righteous. Even if you were anticipating another wave of pain, it does not come. Your muscles are strong and your limbs obey you without fail. And yet deep inside, somewhere next to your heart and stomach, you feel a certain tension akin to that of a taut string. You are at your limit. Be it adrenaline or the strength of your faith, it will not carry you much further. Eldenhard von Valencia stares at you without trying to hide his astonishment and trepidation. That is? Do my eye deceive me? I could swear that I just witnessed you step out of the pillar of fire with the rest following you in your wake. It was the only way. We are here in response to your vox call. I did not expect you to make it here in time. After all, the mutiny caught the entire crew off guard as they were scattered all over the ship. I must say, your wounds... Elderhard does not seem to have changed since you first met, but only at first glance. His face has taken a strange hue. The skin at his temples appears scale, and his voice now has an uncanny scripture quality. These are not traces of fatigue and stress. The psychic body has begun to mutilate, a consequence of contact with the wound. You are not in the best shape yourself, Eldenhard. The psychic grins back at you. Notice the signs of my blessing, have you? Notice? Yes, the warp is taken its toll. but I'm still sane and able to hold my weapon. I'll fight for the Von Valentius bloodline to the end, and if the price is the eternal curse of mutation, so be it. Well, my face will keep me upright with a weapon in my hand. That's all that matters. Eldonard holds up his hand and places in placating gesture. Pray, forgive my insistence. I shall not be the one to doubt the faith of he who has passed the trial by fire. I have gathered everyone who answered the Vox call and was able to hold the weapon. Yet I do not see the Lord Captain or the Archmilitant in our midst. We are still receiving messages in her voice, but she is not responding to direct requests. I last saw Lady Theodora on the observation platform. When did you and she part ways? It was at the very elevator, Master Edenhard. The Lord Captain, accompanied by the Archmilitant, headed to the chambers to retrieve an item of particular import. After that, all we heard from her were Vox broadcasts. This is troubling, and the time is inopportune. I'm still receiving fragmentary reports from the bridge. Kunrad Vigdveer was spotted there, and even what scant intelligence on his activities, reminds me of description of sorcerer's ritual. If that traitor has restored to Rosette's witchcraft, we must stop him at once. I shall go to Theodora Chambers to find her. Edenhard's note. A reasonable approach. Take your escort with you. You may be waylaid. Once you have found the Lord Captain, you must beg her to go to the bridge and lead the counter-attack. The rogue trader's appearance is sure to fill the defenders' hearts with hope, however frightened or exhausted they may be. Until next we meet, Nethys, may the Emperor bless your deeds. I shall see you on the field of battle. Eldonard salutes you with his weapon and returns to his reunite.
Light of terror, guide our way. Look no further. This wound will make a fine scar.
Let's proceed.
A nice little stroll. Attention to detail is the key to success.
Pay attention.
This cleat does not serve as the stateroom. The generator's machines includes wall paneling indicate that it's maintenance module room rather than the area for receiving guests. Infants coming from my new character for now.
Oh, this master-crafted patellar augment is not fit for a servitor.
Okay, Lady Lord Captain's quarters.
Onward.
The Balog seems to have been sticking idle for many years. To check something actually.
Carry the Emperor's will as your torch.
I'm doing it again. The medicine looks like Theodora von Valencia's body sprawled on a large blood-drenched desk. The arch-militant corpse, still clutching a weapon, is slumped against one of the bulkheads.
Emperor, accept thy faithful souls.
No! Lord Captain, I didn't hear a thing. Not a whisper, not a breath. It was so loud. Why didn't I foresee this?
Lord Captain. Who would even dare? Unless that rat, Voidsphere.
Almost certainly, hello, Theodora.
First, betrayal. Now, the murder of the rogue trader. And Mort. How could Mort have failed her so terribly? The Arch-Militant was born on a death world. He had lightning-fast reflexes.
I can look at things in my own way. If you find something that might bear the imprint of the killer, just give it to me, and I'll try to see what secrets it holds.
I'll examine Theodora's body. You lean closer to the body. The cause of death is apparent. What ended the rogue trader alive was an auto pistol shot, and extraordinarily accurate at that one. At that, Theodora's face bears an expression of surprise, the last emotion she experienced in life. Something on the floor catches your eye, a heap of blood-spattered parchment and a scroll that must have fallen off the desk. As you lean down for a closer look, you notice something else. Small shards of glass scattered on the floor. Idra, would you try touching Theodora? You might be able to see the killer through her eyes.
It doesn't work like that. I can try to read the memories of objects, but dead bodies are a different story. Something like that would require her soul. And after what we saw on the officer's deck, I won't risk searching for it in a warp.
Idra, if you don't want to look at her, look at the shards then.
I see streaks of color, luminescence, blue lights, faces, drawing closer. Lady Theodora, and Conrad, and what is that? Ah! Something dark, enormous. Oh, this glass thing was something foul, that's for sure. Tainted witchcraft.
You cannot tell if Argenta remarks is directed at the glass shards or at Idra itself. Okay, let's inspect the Arch-Militant's body. An auto-pistol shot went straight through Mort's forehead, spraying the blood on the furniture around with blood, brain matter and shards of his skull. The safety of the Arch-Militant's weapon is off. The killer must have been a split second quicker than he. Let's inspect the other shards at the desk. It is difficult to say what exactly was broken. The objects fell on the floor, and that is as much as you can ascertain. Upon closer examination, the shards appear iridescent rather than completely transparent. However, they have been submerged in promethium. And brought them to combustible fuel in. Okay, let's have a look at the papers. Reports, accounts, dispatches. You go over the scrolls until you stumble upon a document that is starkly different from the rest. It is a handwritten letter signed with the initial XC, and a seal with a symbol that is vaguely familiar to you. And sends a shiver down your spine. The author of this letter, addressed to Theodora von Valentius, signed it with the seal of one of the holy orders of the Emperor's Inquisition, the secret police of the Imperium that relentlessly hunts heretics, zealots, and other enemy of humanity. Let's be on our way.
Yes, the crucible of battle calls to me once more.
No, wait! We must see if we can find anything.
Idira, you can't bring her back. Let her go.
You'd give up so easily, old man? I expected as much from the sister. It's not like she has a heart. But you? Oh no. I'll get to the bottom of this. I'll find the one responsible for murdering the Lord Captain. And when I do, that scum will regret the day they were born.
Now the scene looks like something caught the victims by surprise. No one has time to react to what was happening. Can I read it? Yes. Esteemed Theodora, a change in circumstances had demanded your immediate assistance in our mutual cause. Forthwith, upon receiving this letter and performing the necessary preparation of the crew, you are to depart the Raycat system. One of my acolytes, Interrogator Heinrichs van Kalox, operates there at the present time. Upon your arrival in the system, you will, without delay, make contact with him and offer any assistance required of you, after which you will provide him a passage to the Furbidaus system aboard your ship. On footfall, the interrogator will remove himself from your presence to await further instructions. Anticipating any questions you may have, I will stress that the nature of Interrogator Van Kalox's activities on Raycat miners is of no concern to you. If required, Van Kalox himself will disclose you the details of his mission. May the Emperor lights be with you.
Marching on.
The future is never certain.
Theodora von Valencia's portrait.
Blessed be the road that we take. With fire and vigor, our Emperor, imbue us!
I'll bleed you dry!
It will be done. At your beck and call. I took care of this one. It will be done.
Faith without deeds is worthless. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. As the Emperor commands, I act. The enemies of the Emperor will be undone.
of course. Will do.
I will do my duty. At your beck and call. Target well struck.
I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act.
On it. Anything else?
Gray hair, sure hand.
I'll do it. Doubt is for the weak.
Was it you? What an unfortunate turn of fate.
summon you.
That is not my destiny.
The horrific vision is a product of the warp energies that permeate the bridge.
What deeds await us?
The first sacrifice opens the eye. The second sacrifice draws its gaze.
Erdenhard looks somewhat harrowed, but is still in one piece. He glances at you, then over your shoulder, clearly alarmed. Nethys, you are here, but where is the Lord Captain? Theodora von Valentis is dead. I found her the Archmilitant in his study. Eldhard eyes widen. God Emperor preserve us. The rogue trader is dead. The ship has lost the hello commander, captain, and the house is its head. Eldenhard shudders and grabs his shoulder. As you watch, the sleeve of his jacket burns open and 2 bone grooves pierce through the fabric. No matter what ritual Conrad is performing in there, the warp is too strong. I cannot withstand it. I feel my body changing with every second, the warp ringing in the air. This is the end. We will perish in the warp, along with the Warrant and all the dynasty's heirs. The enemy of humanity has triumphed. Idira looks anxiously at Eldenhard. Then she glances back at you. I've seen it before. We better get away from him. The changes are already accelerating. I forbid you the very thought of yielding. Only the resigning to your fate will you truly suffer defeat. Words worthy of righteous soul. Save the lofty words for later, will ya? The navigator's ready to take the ship out of the warp if he gets some help from the bridge. Eldenhard stares at you and his eye hardened with cold resolve once more. Then we have no right to bow our heads. You see the Kunrad Vogtveer clearly is the gloom of the bridge. The broken blade is holden is stained with dark drops that seems to have a pearlescent glimmer to them. We are out of time, Eldhard bates his knuckle, desperately thinking. You see a wave ripple across the white of Eldhard's eyes, and they begin to turn a sickly yellow. Vogtveer, you duplicitous cur, the rock trader deaths will be avenged. What? Theodora is dead? Vogtveer stares at you in seemingly genuine bewilderment. No, that can't be, not now, I still haven't. Eldenhard lowers his head, then he sighs and locks his eye with you. His gaze cold, hopefully and fanatical. The ritual will not be completed, I'll take care of it, and you see that your void ship breaks free from the warp. Watch over our rail and farewell. Eldenhard, don't.
Your ritual won't be finished, heretic!
Suffer not the heretic to live!
Show them no mercy!
Indeed. Reduced to dust!
I'll do it.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Pain cleanses the body. I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury. Each strike is a prayer. Faith without deeds is worthless. Rejoice in battle! None can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Will do. I'm not so sure. I know what is to come. Anything else?
I'm not interested. At your beck and call. Brace yourself, Avalon! I will do my duty. It will be done.
I will endure, guided by faith. As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. Power resides in the will of the righteous. As the Emperor commands, strike is a prayer. I'll do it.
On it.
Victory is imminent. That's not the Seneschal's job.
As the Emperor commands, I act. My faith shields me! I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless.
Was that you? Or... Will do. Anything else?
It will be done. At your beck and call. The healing is much appreciated.
High momentum.
As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. I will not. As the Emperor commands, I act. This is why I was chosen.
Bad.
I'll do it.
Reload? No, can't reload.
Can I fall back now? On it. Not this Scryer's job. If only you knew what awaits you.
It will be done.
Let's proceed.
The air.
Ravo, Master Helmsman, system status report. By the Emperor, it's the Seneschal, living and breathing. The wire-haired man with sickly pale skin salutes you. Well, that is a tricky question. The whole place is so overgrown with foul rickery, we are scrubbing it off the vid screens for throne knows how long. We need to how did you all survive in here? The man glances around the bridge. Must have been Providence. It better have been the Emperor's, not someone else's. When they barge in here, the ones with the Master of Whispers, some officer charged them, but it wasn't even a fight. I grabbed whoever I could and dragged them behind the cogitators. Then I prayed for a rescue. We need to re-establish connection with the Navigator's Sanctum. It's our only chance to escape from the warp. Your words seem to knock the officers out of the super, and the air around you fills with voices and commands being issued. You hear someone sobbing, one of the survivors buckling under stress. Abelard cuffs the crying officer without even looking. Restore the Vox channel to the Navigator's Sanctum. Ready the crew. Prepare for translation to real space. Abelard pauses for a few seconds before turning to you. Netis, you may call me superstitious, but translation is not good time to disregard rules. You are the only one who speaks for House von Valancius. You may not be the Lord Captain, but you, more than anyone else, deserves to take their place in the ritual that is about to commence. He directs your attention upwards to the throne that sits at the apex of the tall staircase. What must I do? Take the Lord Cap's seats. Order the final preparations. Wait for the officers to report. Bah! Blast it all to the void. Translation is a craft, not something to be explained, I think. Just go up to the throne, Master Netis. These people are about to do the impossible. The least they deserve is the solace of seeing a figure sitting in the usual spot. Please hurry, every second we waste is a terrible risk. Okay, let's do it. The image before you is hazy, swaying in sorcerous currents, invisible to mortal eyes, as if whatever is beneath this thin shell is constantly changing while still remaining the same. It has taken on the guise of Theodora. The false robe trader eyes reveal the entity's true, surreal nature. One of Theodora's eyes is engulfed in otherworldly fire, the other, a vessel of ancient evils, bores into you. A voice seeps directly into your brain without even reaching your ears, and the voice booms all the horrors of the war. Mortal, Who are you to oppose the very flows of fate? The vision lowers its head, its harrowing gaze boring into you. For but a moment, something changes in Theodora's expression. It almost looks like a shadow of fear. It matters not. Your footfalls are an echo, the sand pouring between scales. Your hopes of faith are the mockery. You? Are you to blame for Theodora's death? The vision lets out a carving laugh. I am the beginning and the end, and all that courses in between. I am the voice of truth that is destined to triumph. This triumph is the terminal point of every twisted maze of fate. Your head begins to spin, and vicious drops slither down your cheeks. You blink, and you are no longer looking at Theodora. It is the traitor Volkvier, just as fluid and ethereal as the previous operation. The same terrifying voice sees from his lips. The aspirant vowed to return with a trophy, a relic that could serve the age of daybreak. That fate was assured and the steps chosen, and yet you broke the unbreakable when you took the aspirant's place. I see you on the day when the final dawn raises over the Iron World. I see you by my side on that day, the day of my resurrection. The image is scattered by invisible sorcerer's winds, and you see Idra, her eyes aglow with some sinister flame. Your image is woven into the tapestry of things to come. I am the wheel of the weaver of destinies, and today I will weave a new thread of elusive possibilities and fickle chances. The thread that will lead you out of the maw of irreversibility. The thread that will help you find the keys to salvation. The thread that will guide you and the weapon of our return to me. A cavalcade, a hazy glimmers of a future yet unknown passes before your eyes. A flash of crimson, purple. The images replace one another in a violent kaleidoscope without even letting you get a proper look at them. Through the rippling mirage, you see a twist image of Abelard, the loyal seneschal of the dynasty. The path is set, child of the dawn. The thread is woven. Follow it. Servant of mine. Rabo turns around and looks up at you. He hesitates for a few moments. He addresses Abelard, who is standing next to you. Seneschal. Seneschal. The navigating sanctum is silent. The Vox signal is stable, which means... Abelard nods absent-mindedly. The navigator gave his life battling the storm that nearly claimed the Von Valencia's flagship. We would honor his memory along with what of all who died this day. Revo does not look away. He's giving you a hard stone, his wide brown furrowed. Seneschal, will you tell us who is that? Where's the Lord Captain?
As First Officer, it is my duty to inform you with the greatest regret and indelible sorrow that Lord Captain Theodora von Valancius is dead. May her memory never fade from the annals of the dynasty. By right of blood succession, and with the absence of other kin who could challenge this decision, it is hereby declared that the successor to Theodora von Valancius is her heir, the rightful inheritor of the warrant of trade, and the title of Rogue Trader. The official ascension ceremony will be held at a later time. In the interim... have you lost your tongues? Hail your lord! It is because of his toils that we all still live. The deed is done, Master. My apologies. I meant to say Lord Captain.
The treachery of the Master of Whispers was fruitless, but victory came at a great cost. Lord Captain Theodora von Valancius perished along with her heir, Edelthrad, and thousands of crew members. yet hope remained. For the second in line to the rogue trader dynasty survived. To hang the ancestral banners once again, and exact vengeance on the enemies of House von Valancius and humanity.
Deep shadow of weariness can be seen on Abelard's face, though the old officer's eyes are keen. They rake over you from head to toe. He frowns, mutters something, then nods to himself. Well then, your lordship? You had us worried for a few hours there, Abelard offers a thin smile. But after witnessing you fearlessly rush into the fray on deck, the only thing that surprises me is how long you stayed on your feet. Your strength only left you once. The fighting was all over. Such fortitude is most admirable in a Lord Captain. You must now hold your first officer's briefing in your new role as a Lord Captain. For many of those who are about to join us on the bridge, this will be the first time briefing, which sustain massive losses among the seniors and middle-ranking officers. Some posts have had to be filled by the deputies, while others go unfilled entirely. And now the deck clans are deciding who will take over the leaderless crews. How did that happen? It appears the heretics were deliberately targeting the vessel's command. They knew exactly whom they were looking for and where they could be found, which is unsurprised given that the information on board was our own Master of Whispers, Abelard grimaces. So what is the agenda? Reports on the condition of the ship and crew. The Lord Captain is not usually drawn away from the important affairs to attend such routine briefing, but this is a unique situation. I am still receiving updates from across the ship, and they are not encouraging. Getting this bird to fly could take a gargantuan effort, even so far as she personally negotiating with the authorities of the system we are currently in. So prepare to hear a bevy of complaints and excuses. Your Lordship, take this opportunity to get a good look at the officers who work 6 decks away from the bridge, and they in turn will have the honor of beholding the visage of the Lord Captain. Well, have you succeeded in tracking down Vogue Dvir? Abelard grins his teeth. No, Commander. In all the commotion, his trail went cold. Our people are still on the hunt for him, and any mutineers who may still be sulking in the ship in many corridors. But frankly, I would not be surprised to hear that we are now on a shuttle short. I'm afraid that it will be some time before he answers for all that he wrought. Wait, Abelard, there is an altogether more pressing problem. I do not wish to be the I am ready to start the briefing. Summon the officers. With a gesture, Abelard relays the order to the adjutants at the far end of the magnificent chamber. A dozen pairs of eyes bore into you, the expression revealing restraint, joy, curiosity, and wariness. Attention officers, you have been granted an honor. Lord Captain Nethys von Valancius will personally conduct the briefing. Our most gracious Lord Captain is ready to hear your reports. Having the time to listen to every last officer on this hulking rig. Abelard, give me presence. What's the major problems and what needs to be done? That's more heretical. Perhaps you would introduce those present, Abelard. Official. As you wish, your lordship. Abelard points to a tall, slender woman whose body seems to contain as many implants as it has flesh. Rigdis Suri Otta of the Tolliman line, our new Voxmaster. It is an honor to serve your lordship, the Voxmaster offers a deep bow. Aboard this vessel you have at your command thousands of crew members and hundreds of officers and section chiefs. I am responsible for receiving, processing and sending all communication between you and them, and well as external source I am your eyes and mouth, Lord Captain. Besides her is Raver, the Master Helmsman. He steers our ship along the course set by the Lord Captain and monitors the void around us to ensure that we do not stray into the asteroid field or a pirate trap. The bearded man with pale, almost transparent skin, large dark circles under his eyes and a dour expression that seems hard-ridden into the face gives a sullen nod. Hail, Lord Captain. This here ship as good as home to me, so rest assured she will be safe hands. I'll die before I let her come to any grief. And lastly, our High Factotum, Janice Danrock, who oversees supplies, procurement and the general material well-being of the ship. Dressed in a embroidered jacket, the heavy-set man with oiled hair offers an obsequious smile and bows. It is an honor, your lordship. You may trust me with all matters concerning your comfort. Everything will be done to the highest standards. In the second row, we have the 3 officers charged with overseeing the ship's vital function. The Master of Ordnance is responsible for artillery aboard. The Infernus Master, whose crew work to prevent the extinguished fires on the ship. And lastly, the Drives Master, servant of the Omnishire. The 3 officers salute you. The Infernus Master does so with confidence, while the Master of Ordnance betrays nervousness. The Drive Master offers a salute resembling a dance, involving the complicated manipulation of the tech priest Macendrites. Is that everyone? Unfortunately, our choir master and esteemed Zachary Weish, head of the Astropath section, is unable to join us. He is in charge of communication with distant star system. Master Weish has been in a trance for some time now, attempting to contact other planes in the Von Valentius Protectorate and inform them of Lady Theodora passing and Kund revoked via territory. I will deliver reports to your lordship on Astropath progress as soon as possible to do so. All other present and adjustants, secretaries and deputies, they are here to make a record of proceedings. Okay, let's start from Infernus Master report. Yes, Lord Captain, the tall young man bows his head in deference. I can report that all fires across all decks have been extinguished. The preliminary damage assessment in terms of material loss and crew casualties has been completed. The results have been submitted to the Seneschal and the High Factotum. The post passed to him after the previous Infernus Master and his next 3 deputies expired in the line of duty. Abelard remarked in a low voice and pitch for your ears only. The last is managing well so far. He can take the heat, so to speak. Okay, High Factotum, what do you have to report? We are toiling day N9 to compile a full account of the losses. The task will require next to involvement from your lordship. I will personally ensure that all damaged components are given into the tech priest's hands for attention and that all supplies are replaced. There is only one resource that I cannot replenish single-handedly, and that is people. We have lost more than 2,000 crew members, and unfortunately this number is not confident to the sum from the lower decks, which are easily replaced, but also includes trained professionals. We will be able to make up our losses on the nearest planet, Rykard Minoris. However, the planet, the whole system in fact, belongs to the winter-scale Rake Trader dynasty. We cannot simply begin recruiting to the planet without first coming to an understanding with the governor. In that respect, I'm powerless. Negotiation at this level are a matter of the Rogue Trader. Especially true given Caligula's winter-scale impingement for attacking first and asking questions later, and the kinds of thick-skulled thugs he usually installs as governors on his planets. Rambus Abelard, frowning. Okay, Drive Master. A voice distorted by a Vox translator emerges from under the tech priest's scarlet hood. Lord Captain, the foes that set upon the noble void ship destroyed the repositories of hundreds of machine spirits. The great World Engine entrusted into my charge is unharmed, thanks to Omnisci. But its spirit mourns its deaf brethren. We have not yet identified a prayer protocol capable of assuaging its sorrow and anger. With great sorrow, I must also report that the Engineer Prime, overseer the spiritual authority of all tech priests on board, fell in battle. The Magus was betrayed by the little flesh that reminded part of him. A most terrible loss. There is no one among my comrades aboard whose experience and comprehension of the scared protocol equal that of the fallen Magus. We require replacement, and as soon as possible. Would someone care to translate the esteemed Dive Master words? The ship's most senior tech priest, most senior both in rank and experience, is dead. If we do not find a replacement, we will be unable to resolve the problem with the Rap Engine, answered the Vox Master instantly, without even thinking. This is not the first time she has acted as an interpreter between the ship's various inhabitants. Okay, Helmsman. Right you are, Lord Captain. To cut a long story short, the outlook is bleak. The ships sound, more or less, but without the Engineer Prime and Navigator who fell in battle, we have no way out of the system. If we try to set so much as a toe inside the warp, I don't know what's happened first. Our rope tray begin to torn a piece, or all valves melting into the bulkheads. Your Lordship, if you will allow me to interject. When we arrived in the system, my crew followed standard protocols and conducted a count of all the available communication channels in the region. One of them was Navi's Nobile station. This station maintains complex Vox silence, but even in presence here inspire hope. To have located a navigator in the very same system is an incredible stroke of luck, a true blessing from the God Emperor. If I were you, I'd grab the chance with both hands, or else you'll soon be eyeing up asteroids to use as your new residence. In slightly less shitty news, we can go around and round the system till our heads are swinging, as long as the Prometheum and supplies last. And with any thick as rock shit, low lives come sniffing around, we'll be able to take them out. So don't worry about that score. Okay, Mr. Ordnance, do you have anything to report? The Master of Ordnance gives you a gloomy look. No, my job's simple, maintain the arsenal and fire when told. But just ask anyone, we got no able crew, no, Lord Captain. Master of Ordnance, you forgot yourself. So what? You comes the officer's hostile and bitter reply. There is as if a dam has burst inside and all his pent-up emotions are rushing out of him. The ship's in ruins, every second officer dead, and now we got a green Lord Captain who's supposed to lead us to the void knows where. Silence! The breach magnificent glass panes seem to tremble under the force of Abelard's roar, and forces seize the mutineer. Abelard's grunts. If only one officer out of the whole lot has fallen to pieces, then that's not a bad at all. Your Lordship, I do humbly apologize on behalf of the entire crew. What would you have us do with the Master of Ordnance? The former Master of Ordnance, I should say. Besides final replacements, says for we already have one lined up. Execute him. Abelard's not sniffly. Consider it done. Take him away. The brutal laughter of the Master of Ordnance reverberates around the bridge as he is led to his fate. To summarize, we have sustained serious losses in the crew members and we require a new engineer, prime and navigator. Is that all that is preventing us from continuing the voyage? Precisely, Lord Captain, but bear in mind that this will not be the end of our trials. The ship's system must be properly inspected for major damage, which can only be carried out at Footfall Station, home to the only dockyard in the sector, but we will never reach Footfall without first solving these three immense problems. What can you tell me about the system? I see to the Vox Master of this point, Mistress Toliman. We are in a Raycat star system and our voyage here was undertaken on the orders of your lordship predecessor. There are 3 inhabitant bodies in the system, and our attempts to send Vox messages have produced confounding results. The Navis Nobile station has not simply failed to answer, it seems to be maintaining total Vox silence. However, we did receive a distress signal from the prison planetoid in the system, and Raycat Minories itself is also not responding to our hails. But what is most alarming is that our augurs have intercepted signals from the surface that seem to indicate ongoing hostilities on the planet. The situation is not very encouraging, but without a navigator, a tech priest and a new crew members, we won't be able to travel anywhere. Therefore, we must go to the planet and the Navis Nobile station to find out what is going on. Okay, you're dismissed. Assemble officers salute as you are. Your Lordship, there is one other thing, a confidential matter of the utmost importance. Lady Theodora, Abelard hesitates. Your eternally esteemed predecessor brought the ship here to the system for a reason. She was given a secret mission. You perhaps are wondering who has the authority to commission a rogue trader to do anything. And I should tell you, the Lord Inquisitor, the hand of the Emperor, the chief architect of all will in the cosmos expanse. I came across this strange handwritten letter on Theodora's desk. I was signed XC. You're referring to the contents of that note, I presume? Yes, quite right. XC Xavier Calzazar. Lady Theodora was to seek out the Lord's Inquisition's right-hand man. Once Heinrichs van Kalox, the interrogator, you understand? All I know is that he is somewhere in the system, that we must find him and offer him whatever assistance he requires and deliver him to Footfall in the Furubis system. Finding him without any more information to go on will be difficult indeed, but the Inquisitor is an important individual. The authorities in the system, either the Navis Nobile or the Governor of Raycat Miners, may know something. That is all for it, Your Lordship. You have a great deal of work ahead of you, but it's a mere taste of the daily burden of a rogue trader. Soon you must take up the reins of the Von Valentius Protectorate. Abelard gives you another scrutinizing look, as if trying to gauge how long you will hold under this monumental mountains of problem. His face softens slightly and it seems he's about to offer some words of encouragement. Idra, Sister Argenta, explain yourself. The Sister of Battle grimly nods towards Idria. The Psyche is suffering some ailment, a dark madness. She insisted on seeing the rogue trader. I judged that it would be unwise to leave her unsupervised. For a brief moment, Sister Argenta's voice sounds hesitant. I was also hoping to approach you with a personal request, but I can wait. Speak with me when you have time, rogue trader. Indira Gaze's eyes rove over those assembled. One word burst from her lips. Daybreak. Abelard, bring the witch to heel. Class, cease your buffoonery immediately and report the reason for your intrusions. Damn it! Indira presses her finger to her temples in desperation. Your Lordship, here's the thing. I was trying to see the immediate future and it hit me so hard. My head is still spinning. Something very strange is heading our way, and I can't make out what it is, no matter how hard I try. A single word is all I can make out. Daybreak, or maybe it's dawn. Or it's ringing and ringing like an echo, like a bell. But it's daybreak, then why is it so dark? We cannot exact any information of value from a single word. Can you tell us anything else, Mistress Lass? No, not yet anyway. The voices are going berserk, all shouting at once. I can't make sense of any of it. As soon as I know anything else, I'll report it straight away. Well, Captain, if you want me to take a closer look into your future, find me on the bridge. We can talk. Lady Theodora was well served by my whispers on so many occasions, and I'm sure you'll benefit from them as well. Psyche bit her lips, stretching to a very smile. If there is nothing else of value to report, I'll declare this briefing concluded. It's time to get to work. Okay, we started chapter 1, but I'm gonna go and have a drink. A A thin, pale woman stands out among the rest of the crew. There's a thick bundle of cables coming out from the back of the skull and disappearing under her ceremonial garment. And you see a grate of a quietly humming vox where her mouth should be. The woman sees you and bows her head in respectful greetings. How may I save you, Lord Captain? What are the Vox Master's duties? I am the ears and voice of the Void Ship. I supervise several dozen officers and 3 times that number of support personnel. We receive, send, encrypt, and decode all incoming and outgoing messages through the ship internal and external channels. And we also ensure clean communication and the optimal efficiency of the crew's Voxcasters. If you ever want to know what worries and concerns your crew are harboring, what your subjects are whispering about in local networks after their watches, and that their leaders are clamoring about over shortwave Vox transmission, just come and see me. I will satisfy your curiosity. Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Forgive me, Lord Captain, I have no information that would be of interest to you at this moment. Why do you look so strange? My appearance comes from the heritage, generation after generation of people who spend their entire lives in the depths of the Void Ship. Neither we nor our ancestors have ever left our home. But the same can be said about many dozens of the Imperium Million worlds. We are used to the silence of the cosmos and the voices of the ship. There are thousands of us, but we dwell far from the captain's captain, upper decks, and remain unseen. We are the Voidborn. Where did you come from? Because we are the children born in a void between the stars, be it in the womb of traveling vessel, an orbital satellite, or a forgotten asteroid station. Low gravity voyages through the warp and the countless dangers of space travel. Everything others hate and dread is second nature to us. Tell me about the lives of the Voidborn in my crew. To us, the groans, creaks, and murmurs of the ship sounds the way babbling brooks and singing birds to do to the world dwellers. We hear the ship breathe, but know how it feels and think. We are part of the ship, just like it's part of us. We perform numerous functions that there are many officers among our numbers. Some maintains order and prevent mutiny, others serve the shepherds and support the crew, and some devotee themselves to mending the body of a spirit of the vessel. Most of the Voidborns are members of a large void ship dynasties that bear responsibility for certain aspects of the ship's life. For 300 years, the main branch of the Toliman dynasty has produced the ship's Voxmasters, and most of our subordinate comes from the cadets' houses of the dynasty. How do you find life on the ship? Life has been quite generous to me, Lord Captain. I am the Vox Master, and only the best in the dynasty can become one. By virtue of my skill and position, no one has ever denied me anything. Our family claims a spacious section for its demesne. I also enjoy long walks through the narrow and dimly lit corridors of the ship, listening to the sounds of the activity, falling asleep and waking up to the chanting of hymns, and admiring the stars beyond, of course. How do the others treat you? We look, speak, and move differently from the inhabitants of the planetary worlds. Our way of life, tradition, and quirks frighten those people, just like the darkness of this cosmos. Many believe us to be the bringers of ill fortune, and alas, it is Voidborn who get the blame for terrible rapid phenomena during longer voyages. Vigdis hesitates before continuing. Several years ago, an unfortunate rap jump caused all the food on board to spoil. 15 days later, a hungry and furious crew nearly massacred everyone on the lower decks, blaming us for the misfortune and hoping to restock the ladders with our flesh. I would have been killed during the mutiny had Idira Atlas not show up on the right place at the right time. She came to my rescue, and the scoundrel's fear of her was even greater than the fear of the Voidborn. Are you close friends with her? Webs of tiny wrinkles appear at the corners of Victi's eyes, the only hint that the Voxmaster is smiling. The Voidborn seldom make friends, especially among the captain's entourage, but you see, many consider Idra to be different. I am different too. We have spent plenty of time in each other's company discussing regicide over a glass of Hamasek. Excellent Idira changes after one incident, and we started to drift apart. The death of Captain Theodora made her withdraw even more. I do not know if Idira considers me her friend now, but we used to be very, very close. It is good I can still look after her in my own way. Interpreting the Vox Master emotions based on half a face and a Vox module voice is no easy task, but you manage to catch the undercurrent in Victor's words. The Vox Master is not merely saddened by her rift with Idria, she is devastated by it. Have you ever left a ship? Oh, I did once, and it was dreadful. It felt like a massive blue dome overhead could shatter at any moment and fall, and my bones would be crushed by the gravity. Vigdis twitches her shoulders, trying to ward off the flood of memories. The ship is my home, Lord Captain, and I will not trade it even for the bounty of 100 worlds. Connect me to the vessel's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of my crew. The Vox Master nods obediently and presses several switches on the device she's holding. It is done, Lord Captain. You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normal quiet corners of the vessel. When the broadcast ends, you hear a distant shout of approval. That's it for now. The tall man before you appears to be woven from tendons and muscles, blue veins snake under his white, almost dove-colored skin, and his scalp and chin are covered in cropped white hair. His neck and shoulders are wrapped in wireless that hint at the presence of neutral connectors under his uniform. The officer's face seems to be twisted in a perpetual grimace of annoyance and danger, but he greets you with a respectful nod. Lord Captain, Master Helmsman Raver at your service. Do you control the ship in real space? I wish that was my job, my only job. I have to steer her through the warp too, but most of the credit for that goes to Navigator. The warp's a nightmare, always tossing up someone new. All my years at the helm, they count for nothing in there. My part's small enough. I just monitor our system, follow the charted route, and I don't kick up a fuss when new orders come in front of Navigator's sanctum. Real space, now that's where I keep my eyes peeled. Gravitational anomalies, void currencies, hard radiation, that kind of shit show up everywhere. Thanks the Emperor, the Augurs on his vessel are holding up. And so far I've been able to spot something bad coming up our way. Who are those idiots you are in charge of? There are too many of them to list. Tech priests from the Engineerium, voidsmen from the Augur decks, the Workshy, fools on the bridge. I'd have every last one of them flogged. They all need a wake-up call. They need to be wiped into shape, or else the ship will go nowhere. Or even worse, I'll go somewhere we don't want to. You're the Voidborn, are you not? That I am. Born into a Helmsman clan in the bowels of the Kartist vessel. Studied the family trade until I was 15. Then my entire clan was butchered in a mutiny by lower hold scum. They spared the young'uns, of course, they did. Kids with implanted connectors make great navigatorial servitors. But I was having none of it. They weren't going to make a servitor out of me, so I escaped into the Crowleys. And then I spent months picking them off, one after the other. Raver stops suddenly. You got me talking up a storm. Anyway, yes, I'm a Voidborn. Finish your story. Raver stays silent for a few seconds. Not much to tell. I gutted everyone I could to get to, and then I fled upwards to the middle decks. That's where an Augur operator took me under their wing. They have appearance helmsmen on their own up there, you see. Nobody asked me any questions, so I stayed. I grew up, trained, got smarter, then ended up a junior helmsman. A dozen years later, Danrock spotted me and lured me away, the cheeky blighter. I can see you are not a gregarious sort. Raver eyes twitches, which makes the grimace on his face even uglier. I've done something to displease the Lord Captain. Did I message you, or are you giving the rock trader cheek? Answer me, Voidrat. When you shout, Raver winces as he soundly physically hurts. Beg your pardon, my captain. I do apologize, but the blame for my ugly mug and foul temper can be laid at my door only. Raver points at the cables around himself. Connecting wires. Once they got into the control panel, I became one with the ship. Expect the bloody cogs messed up the wires, stimulus injectors and connectors when they implanted them. They twisted the wires the wrong way and burned something in my noggin. Anyways, I can't sleep. It just doesn't happen anymore. It's been 30 years of non-stop stimulus and spitting headaches. So yeah, forgive me if I'm not all smiles, Captain. Tell me about the Voidborn then. Robin winces and rubs his temple. Lord Captain, I mean no disrespect, but you'd better to find someone with an active conversation, like Tollyman, the new Voxmaster. I ain't the talking type. I just get the ship where it needs to go. Best let folks stick to what they do best. Well, what can you tell me about the other officers then? Good for nothing wasters, that's what they are, each and every one. Take Janice Danrock, the highborn weasel. He frowns over the officers, but some of the deals he makes would get him burned alive. He drags other people into his schemes so they can take the fall for him too. One of my junior helmsmen was ferrying goods from Footfall for him, got caught by Seneschal and ended up in a void hatch. Dan couldn't care less. The Voxmaster, another Tollyman like the last one, Void rest him, is no better. She cut off half the Vox channels the day she took up the post. Said the Vox system were damaged and the engineering had no contact with other modules. But how am I supposed to steer the ship? Collect the cogs reports with the power of my mind? First Officer Weirstein, I can't stand him, like every Navy officer I've ever met. He doesn't know a thing about controlling the vessel in the void, but he puffs himself up all the same and throws his weight around. Me and him had to have words a few times before he left me alone. Thanks to Emperor Lady Theodora trusted me more than the Seneschal when it comes to helming a void ship. Then there is that woman, what's her name? Class. Lady Theodora brought her along wherever she went. And look what happened to her. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out it was that witch that delivered her to the early grave, just like countless souls before. I don't see why anyone would want to walk in calamity on the ship, but some would disagree. They say she's a friend with young Tollyman, you know? Or at least she used to be. Would you like anyone at all? Ravel looks perplexed. What kind of question is that? I like you, Lady Theodora before you. Where would I be if I was making cracks about Rock Trader, huh? I don't want to die just yet. Smart.
Rogue Trader.
Do you say you have personal requests of me? Before I do that. Argenta, tell me a little bit about yourself.
About me? I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to tell about me?
Well, how did you end up on Theodora's ship, for example?
I first came here when I found myself in need of passage from Footfall to a remote planet. But I imagine what interests you is not that first journey. but rather what brought me aboard prior to the pirate attack. That story is complicated. It just so happened that
She stopped short.
I made a mistake. In a moment of laxity, I was ambushed by the accursed followers of the archenemy. I was badly wounded. Lady Theodora came to my aid and brought me aboard her ship, while her crew attended to me in my weakened state. It all happened not too long ago. I'd barely recovered from my wounds when the pirates struck. Truly, the servants of evil know no rest. There is no place where we can be safe from their machinations.
What happened to the people who wounded you? Did Theodora's men eliminated them?
Sadly, they did not. Lady Theodora was in a hurry and chose not to stay on the planet. Her people took me to a ship while I was unconscious, and when I came to my senses, we were already flying away. How I pray to come face to face with those heretics once more. And it's bound to happen someday.
So what was the mistake?
It happens even to the best of us. My mistakes are my burden to bear. I'll find a way to atone for them.
Okay. So where did this happen?
On one of the recently discovered planets in the Expanse. No one suspected that it had already been tainted by the filth of heresy. Had I known it beforehand, of course I would have been on my guard.
We should go to this planet and deal with the Chaos Worshippers.
The path to that planet was lost. All the knowledge is gone, along with the previous navigator. It would take immense effort and resources to rediscover the route. The heir to the von Valanci's protectorate must have plenty of other issues to deal with right now. Perhaps later, when the skies above our heads have cleared.
What was it like traveling on Theodora's ship?
I hadn't been here that long. Just one journey from Footfall, and the other journey, the majority of which I spent in the confines of the medbay. I can't tell you much about the first voyage. I was more focused on prayers and ruminations than on the people around me, or the journey itself. During the last journey, Seneschal Viserion stood out for me. He came by several times to ask about my health. He's an honorable man and a loyal servant of the Imperium. I think he is as meticulous in his inspections of the logistic systems as he is in his inquiries about the health of the occasional sister of battle aboard the ship. But not all of Theodora's people have earned my trust. You know who I'm talking about. There is no place for Adira Tlas among the God Emperor's faithful. I'm surprised she wasn't in league with the pirates. And I'm equally surprised by how deep heresy and treason run in this place. I'm glad we all made it through that dark hour. May the day that follows be bright. As you wish.
Tell me about Adeptas or Roritas.
Gladly. There are none more faithful to the God Emperor than my sisters. We fight against his enemies by the will of the Holy Ecclesiarchy. I beg your pardon, Rogue Trader. Here I am talking about what every lesser noble in the Imperium knows. So what exactly are you interested in hearing about?
What order are you from?
Once I had completed my novitiate, I was sent to the Calixian branch of the Order of Our Martyred Lady, assigned to the Order's Pronatus. The Order's mission is vital and noble. The Sisters Pronatus protect great relics of the Imperium. We guard them, preserve them, escort them when they are brought onto the battlefield or presented for pilgrims to venerate. And we seek out the relics that have been lost. Neither a coven of heretics nor the most wicked death world can deter Sisters Pronatus when their goal is to return a piece of the great legacy of the Imperium into the hands of the faithful.
The Order Pronatus is not one of the Order's militants, and yet you are a trader fighter.
Don't let the name deceive you. The Order's militant trains sisters to march onto the battlefield as an army. That does not make sisters who belong to the non-militant orders timid and helpless. Both the solace-bringing Sisters Hospitaller and the enlightened Sisters Dialogus know how to greet enemies of humanity. Their dialogue with heretics is usually quite short, with the last word being a bolter discharge. And my order has all the more reason to be known for the martial prowess of its sisters. We are the keepers of the Imperium's relics. What would become of our blessed hero's legacy if the Sisters Pronatus could not protect it?
They said that Adeptas Sariotas are the fiercest in the faith among the warriors of the Imperium. Is that true?
It is. The Sisters of Battle are a fire lit by the God Emperor. They are the echo of his voice that travels through the dark expanses of the universe. We bring his wrath to heretics, mutants, and other enemies of humanity. We protect the faithful from the unholy and unhallowed. Sometimes with words, more often than not with a bolter.
An old sister truly faultless, I should say.
Even the novices of the Adeptus Sororitas are drawn from among the most worthy. Those who have taken the vows and become a full-fledged sister are the best of the best, tested by trials of body and spirit. Yes, there have been cases when a sister stumbled or showed weakness. But do not expect to hear a story of depravity or downfall from me. Each such occurrence is a great tragedy for us all. Light cannot bear the smallest speck of darkness within. And thus those who have trespassed or shown weakness of spirit are given a chance at redemption. They are called Sisters Repentia, and may the enemy tremble before her. For nothing can stop a sister of battle who yearns to be cleansed of faults and weakness. Wearing nothing but robes, no armor, eviscerator in hand, those sisters who have once faltered find repentance on the battlefield. Their lives are seldom long, but a death in the name of purgation is a better fate than to live with a shadow in one's soul.
You said you belonged to the Calixian branch of your order. What brought you to the Coroner's Expanse?
The Order sent me to Footfall. My undertaking was to assist the local priesthood of Drusians in caring for a sacred reliquary that had been there since the time of Parsimist Owain, the station's founder.
Are there any other members of the Adeptus Sororitas in the Coroner's Expanse?
None that I'm aware of, but the Sisterhood's orders are many, and can operate independently of one another, sending their sisters wherever their presence is needed as deemed by the Ecclesiarchy. Perhaps somewhere in the Lord Inquisitor's retinue, may his path be blessed, my sisters perform their duty as we speak. I wish it were so. Even a single evening spent in joint prayer and training would bring me joy. Should any more arise, keeping them to yourself would be imprudent. It is a virtue to take an interest in holiness.
So why is that keeping you in my retinue?
This ship was targeted by heretical pirates, which means that my presence here and the assistance I provide to you are my sacred duty. Sooner or later, I will likely have to return to Footfall to protect its reliquary. But for now, I wish to remain a part of the Rogue Trader's crew.
It pleases me to have a servant of the Golden Throne in my crew. May the enemies of the Imperium tremble before our onslaught.
So they shall.
You said you have a personal request from me.
I indeed have a request, Rogue Trader.
The accursed servants of Chaos who assaulted the ship took the lives of your loyal crew members, and they orphaned many children, including the prodigy of brave officers who defended their posts until the bitter end. I don't know what customary practices there are for cases like this involving Valencia's territory, But in the world unfamiliar with, the children of such brave soul could accept to receive some special consideration. Perhaps the rock trader could meet with the orphans. What good would the meeting then do? These children are the future of your crew, and one day they too will have to stand against the evil and heresy as the partners did. By meeting them, by speaking the right words to them, you will honor the memory of the fallen heroes and light the way to heroes in the making. They will always remember the day that they met Rock Trader. Besides, you will bolster the orphan spirits, help them recover from their loss, which can be hard for some as we are. Make the arrangement for a meeting worthy of a rogue trader. I will address the orphans with a speech. As you wish, rogue trader. Thank you for granting my request. A group of adolescents, clearly dressed in their finest, freshly pressed clothes, form a straight line before you. Some stare at you with wide eyes like you are some mythical creature, while others humble together in a fear and look away. Our indefatigable sister has been keeping an eye on these pups. Albrad glances at the gathered children. It is hardly the Schola Progenium in here, but we have provided the orphans on our ship with adequate care and instructions. Argenta is standing on the side of the group. As you approach, she perks up and announces, her voice ringing. Brave ones, the master of the ship has appeared before you, the one who guided through the darkness of the universe by the Emperor's will. Greet your captain, the rock trader of the House von Valentius. I, the rock trader, Lord Captain of this ship, speak to you now. Your parents gave their lives for just cause and brought honor to the von Valentius banner and those of the Imperium. I am proud of them, and I believe that you will become the worthy heirs. The teenagers hang on every word with a boat's breath. Only a few at the far end of the row seem sullen and not particularly impressed by your speech. One of the scowling visitors with a thin scar across his face tosses his head back and says bitterly, "So what? Why should we care? Our friends and parents die in the dozens for your noble lot, and you just gives us speech?" Argenta quickly turns to the boy. A flurry of emotion flashes in her dark eyes, like she wants both to calm him and scold him for his impertinence. Punish the troublemaker. Put the rest back in the base. This ordeal is over. The boy just raises his chin stubbornly. His mouth presses into a hard line. The others quiet down in fear. Young ones, you won't recognize them in a year or two. They will learn to salute and speak only when permitted by the superior officer. But right now, clowning around is all they know. Argenta rips her temple passively. She smiles and offers a few more words of encouragement, then leaves the bay.
Greetings.
Even in stillness, Sister Argenta radiates energy, with a dark eye shining and a slight blush of her cheeks. She's reciting a prayer and looks at you only once. She has spoken the final line. There's nothing. No reaction.
Lord Captain?
I'd like to know more about Master Show.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
Tell me about yourself. What were you before you became Theodora Seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No. "I used to be" is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling. The essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue trader's personal council. It was a difficult choice for me, but I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the expanse.
Leaving the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post?
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. The Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing, or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
The way you talk about Theodora, I'm beginning to think you were in love with her.
What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless.
Well, do you have a family?
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Thank you.
Of course.
Let's talk about the useful thing for the rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Out of the situation the Corners expands for me, what do I need to know and keep in mind?
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words. The Coronis Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Coronis Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Coronis Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Who are the main players I need to be aware?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Coronis Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Caligos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis Expanse.
Kunrad, our previous Master of Whispers, what can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight. We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the von Valancius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake. If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps. As you wish, Lord Captain. Lord Captain.
The corpulent man in lavish clothes bows before you, not without difficulty. A servo school whirls over the shoulder while the fingers of his augmented hand drum against the sheaf of papers he's holding, and they regards you with attentive interest through the lens of his magnifying implant. Greeting, your lordship. Giannis Dandrak at your service. How did you come to serve the von Valancius dynasty? I come from Dargonus, your lordship. I have been a subject of your dynasty since birth, and have always strived to be of use to the great rock trader. Alas, it was not my fate to be the primary heir of my own family, due to being 15 in line for the title, so I decided not to stand in the way of these behind me in the case they attempt to shorten the waiting list at my expense. Giannis lets out an almost canny chuckle. While my brothers and sisters scheme against one another, I studied the exact sciences and mastered bookkeepings, the greatest art of the Adeptus Administratum. I must admit that the accumulation of wealth, something one can control, is far more exciting than hunting, carousing, and other traditional amusements of my noble peers. What was it like working for Theodora? Oh, now that's a tricky question, your lordship. Do you ask if it's... you ask it of everyone, knowing they risk losing their heads should they let slip a careless remark about your predecessor? I should put it thus. Working with Lady Theodora was never boring and always profitable. Their premises have billions of subjects, but very few do what they love and what they are best suited to. I would say Lady Theodora was one of the fortunate ones. She was a model lock trader, and she surrounded herself with those who exceeded at and loved their work. Her was a rare talent indeed. What do you think about your other crew members? Keeping tabs on your subordinates, a wise move. Tell me who interests you and I'll endeavor you to be as honest as possible. Jan's eyes light up. He's obviously eager to speak his mind. What about Seneschal Abelard? Lady Theodora managed to do what even the Imperial Navy could not, teach Master Westerrein to carry out orders that he fundamentally disagreed with. I don't know what methods she used, but the result is impressive. Having said that, there is something else you need to know. Lord Captain, your Seneschal is capable of being something far greater than mere conduit to your will. He possesses the cunning and experience to run the Protectorate passively whenever Lady Theodora was away, and that really is saying something. Keep an eye out on that old officer, I say, or alternatively, turn him into a faithful ally. What about Conrad Vigdvir, the former Master of Whispers? I hope I never see this set foot aboard this vessel again, not even as a servitor, although he would be able to do at least some good that way. Some has to clean the latrines after all. The factotum bloated face grown stern. He gave us all quite a fright on that ill-fated day, Lord Captain. And still, to speak candidly, I never enjoyed Master Vodvi's company, but I believed him to be a man who knew how to do his job. Regretfully, I was mistaken. It turns out Conrad lacked the most important quality of Master of Whispers, unwavering loyalty to the rock trader, and his failing came to a light in a most deplorable manner. What about Voxmaster? Ah yes, the Voidborn. You know, in my family, we use such creatures as quarry whenever we went hunting. Mutants are the bane of humanity, an unseen tumor that threatens to end us all. By a disgrace. In a brief time Tollyman has spent as Nepos as a Foxmaster, I have noticed a significant flaws in her character, or anything that would make me question her professional qualities. Needless to say, she is very diligent, as is any Voidborn seeking to end the Master affection. I believe we can trust in her skill and loyalty. I want to know about people who buy or plunder. Of course, Lord Captain, who interests you exactly? We most often deal with followers of Saint Drarus, the Explorators, the Kazbalika mission, or Emperor forgive us, the Fellowship of the Void. What is Fellowship of the Void? Finis emits a laugh like Gurg. A pompous name is not. In truth, they are a gang of pirates who are forever squabbling over loot and territory. However, some of their little flotillas need supplies. Oh, getting awkward cargo off our hands without asking question. Of course, there is always a risk that these countries will change their minds and attempt to board us instead, but so far our macro cannons have managed to keep them in line. They say Raza Calvira speaks on the Fellowship's behalf. The Adaptus Masecos on Footholds is rumored to be her favorite hunt. What about Saint Drew's acquire from? What do the followers of Saint Drucos acquire from us? The Drusians still hope to bring the Coronus Expanse to the warm embrace of the faith, just as the flock hopes to receive the aid of the Drusian missionaries. Each crate of food, shipment of clothes, or box of the medicine marked with the seals is signed. The rogue trader himself believes in a sect's future success. Reverend Hieronymus is the first among the Drusians and is most often seen in footfall in Grand Atrium. A gloomy fellow, but some almost believe him to be a saint. What about the explorators? Members of the exploratory cognizance fleet, which has been roaming the Coronus Expanse for a good while now. Omnisci knows what they are hoping to find, but the acolytes regularly show up on inhabited worlds, seeking bits of sacred knowledge, tracking down mechanical relics, and sniffing out Xeno artifacts, if truth be told. Supposedly they want to save the ignorant rabble from corruption. A take priest named Octipon22 does business with us on a fleet behalf. He can be found at the Doctor Foothold. I'm interested in Kazbalika mission. Masters of the cold trade, immortal criminals and notorious crooks to the last man. The mission is but one branch of the mafia gang that has taken root in the Calix sector. You can do business with them as long as you take the necessary precaution. They are led by Valantrian Tokara, who recently appointed himself liege at Footfall. Of course, he is trusted ally of rogue trader Winterscale, but he will not refuse you, another of the Emperor's anointed. If you wish to walk to Vladimir, look for him in the Liege Palace Footholds. Why you give away our spoils to these people in the first place? To profit from them, of course. Most of the things you will find during expeditions are complete junk to one such of yourselves, but the less fortunate and affluent servants of Emperor thinks them treasures, especially when they are bestowed by the great rogue trader himself. Drusian fanatics and pirate cutthroats, Kabbalistas, declares and explorators, none will refuse our help in these dark and trying times, and there are many a time when we shall be the ones requiring aid, and it would be beneficial to have allies willing to provide it. tall, middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant as she rubs the implant of the temple. Her chorus is undone, and one of the claps is on the verge of falling off. Sensing your presence, Idra turns her head towards you and offers you a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you. Where do you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Tell me about Lyra.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me. But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
No, finish.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
What did you do before you came to be on the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra. There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me, for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time.
How did you end up in the Rogue Trader service?
Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. As I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered the guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so I entered the service of the von Valancius dynasty. A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can. After some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy. Of course, Lord Captain. You could ask yourself that question, eh, Lord Captain? Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it. Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow.
What would you do if your door burst open?
Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me. I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight.
Aren't you afraid to lose the control?
Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster.
Can you see my future?
All right. That's what I'm here for, after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now.
Sure.
All right. Let's hear what they're whispering about you. Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void. There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this vessel overflows, none will remain unstained. Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, rogue trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion. A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. A chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his master, or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord? The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it? I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
I'd like to hear your ogre, Yadira. What's waiting in the future again?
All right, let's hear... I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in. None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well. Not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off that if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Only when I was asked. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lady von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice.
There's a strain between you and Argenta, isn't it right?
The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices. Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head.
Get a story from me, Idra.
You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrive at the place, and what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star.
Let's discuss your abilities.
What are you talking about, Lord Captain?
Yeah, Psykers. Psykers are only granted the right to live within the Emperor's blessing. Have you ever been to Terra?
Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship. And my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have. Of course. Always at your...
guy, the warship needs a new navigator. One may be found in Navi's Nebula station. Lord Captain reporting. The heralds of the Navi's Nebula continue to maintain Vox silence. Perhaps due to the Urek 5 being off limits to visitors, we intercepted signals from the beacons drifting in the station's orbit. The demands are clear. We are told to turn the ship around immediately. We have also detected an accumulation of space debris near the station docks. Presumably, it is the remains of interplanetary shuttles. Perhaps the esteemed Navi's Nebulite house requires aid and therefore cannot respond to the Vox transmission. Contact the station again. I will negotiate personally. The Vox relays the cadent sounds of grinding gears and clicking tumbles. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The station does not reply even after the official greetings by Rogue Trader and the declaration of the intent to negotiate in person. Okay, scan it. Yes, Lord Captain. The Vox remains silent for a while, but then you hear static of Vigdis' measured voice. The officers from the Auger crew performed a full scan of the station, but the information is imprecise. They note wave distortions of unclear genesis that are throwing off most of the readings. We are able to ascertain that the reactor core of the station is still active, but many compartments are unpowered and some fully depressurized. The signs of biological activity are largely present in the central module, which means the station has not been abandoned. So the question remains, why are we esteemed navigators, heralds, ignoring us? Turn back, no one dares to give me orders. No, Lord Commander, of course not. Order the crew to commence docking with the station. Affirmative, Lord Captain. We do not know what is happening on the station, so you will have to look for the esteemed navigators blind. Dock safely and may the God Emperor light your path.
Pathetic worm. You dare to argue with your master?
It was not you whom I swore to serve within these walls. My lips are sealed.
Confess. What was the old man's last command? What are you planning?
Give up, Keeper. You have lost this battle. Again.
We're getting nowhere with these ones, sir. Permission to execute them.
Wretched, you will be considered to oblivion for your transgression against the House of Celio. Mortal and peril, deliver your servants from peril. Prayers will not help you, servant of the damned. In the name of House Orsilia, I command you to execute the infidels. Not a step further. Master, we have some strange guest on the station. A tall man stops you with a gesture when you approach. Blood is trickling down the pearly scale of his weary face, and not just his own blood. Two jet black unblinking eyes are watching your every move. And the third one, the mark of a navigator's fate, is menacingly pulsing behind the lowered lid in the middle of his forehead. Step back, or I will unleash all the horrors of the Sea of Souls upon you. Emperor, be my witness. Deceit, brother. It was Emperor's will that brought me to this abode. The navigator frowns. No one has the right to interpret his will so freely, brother. But wait, I recognize your coat of arms. You must be the lord of the von Valencius dynasty. Yes, I am absolutely positive, in fact. And since fate has brought such an important person into my abode, allow me to introduce myself. Before you stand Philek Christoph August, keeper of the station. So, you did not come to offer support to the traitors. This is great news. Having said that, you must understand that Iraq 5 is a holy sanctum for House Orsalino, and the path to it's only revered to a select few. It pains me to say you are not on the guest list. What is happening on the station? Where all these corpses come from? Betrayal, a most banal thing in the life of a nobiliate, don't you think? I was stabbed in the back by my closest friend, Theobald Orselio, the second keeper of Urak 5, and my mentor. On his instruction, my own people sabotaged the generators, blew up the shuttles, and brutally massacred the loyal servants of my mistress. Most unforgivably, they dared to take a prisoner, greedy scum. I swear by the throne lights the soul will perish in the darkness of the void. Philek falls silent for a few moments and then furiously slams the end of his staff into the floor. The madmen have captured Lady Cassia and are now torturing her upstairs while we are idly chatting down here. Help me rescue her or be gone, but waste no more of my precious time. Wait. I still have a question about the situation on the station. Our idle chatter will not save Lady Cassia, but if you need to be sure of something before you can help, so be it. Tell me about your mistress. Regretfully, I'm not allowed to discuss my mistress, whether with her retinue or the outsiders. She will tell you about herself personally if she feels like it. Assuming she survived. I'm begging you not to waste any more of our precious time, for it's running out. What do you think? She's still alive? A spark of concern flickers in the black pits of Felix's eyes. You may not believe me, but Lady Cassia is capable of Naviteco cringes, seemingly in pain and furious exhales. Incredible things. Not even a traitor Theobald can easily harness her power. My men reported that the station is in deplorable state. The navigator irritably brushes away a strand of bloodied hair. Trust me, I should know. Everything happened too quickly. There were dozens of reports of accident, victims and falling system, but the only precious things aboard the station is Lady Cassia's life. Everything else is futile and can easily be replenished. Why did you not respond to the message from Rican Minus? I have already said Unit 5 is sacrosanct. It is the holy dominant of the Navis Nobilia, and is forbidden for commoners for the world below. We had hoped to solve the crisis of our own, But when the situation spiraled out of control, we could not establish contact because the traitors had disabled our equipment. I hope your curiosity is satisfied. So what kind of help are we talking about? I would never ask you for such favor under different circumstances as yet. Felek takes his hand away from his ribcage, notices blood and winces in pain. And yet Lady Cassia's well-being is above all. I haven't got many people left, and my wounds are too deep for me to act with precision and swiftness, but you may actually succeed. In order to ascend to the Mistress' Chambers, you will need to remake a holy relic sanctified with the blood of Lady Ursula herself. This is the control lot of the elevator machine spirit. I have one part of the other was lost during the mutiny, but even the relic will be of no use unless the elevator mechanism is powered. Why should I help you? You came to this station for a reason. How Ursulina will not be able to help you until the current crisis is resolved. But if you aid us now, I promise we will reach an agreement that you will find satisfying, be it riches, influence, or the powers of our navigators. How do we remake the control rod? I had a phylactery containing the Mistress' blood. I need to be taken to the laboratory, which is located behind one of the rail corridors. The most ancient of sacred mechanisms will help to rebuild the rod. The tech priest cautiously performed the rites of appeasement so that the machine spirit would serve the house in time of need. The fateful hour is now upon us. So how am I supposed to power the elevator? The station main cogitator is situated in the guard room. Just enter the correct command sequence and the sacred mechanisms will do the rest. Well, if it's so simple, why don't you do it yourself? I never said the feat would be easy to accomplish. The path to the laboratory and the guard room is blocked by the very same madmen who took over the station. They will not negotiate and are not afraid of displeasing the Navis Nobilia or incurring the Emperor's wrath. They bow only to brute strength, something which I currently happen to lack. I will rescue Mistress, but in return I require Host Ursulina sign a contract with you, my protectorate. Rescue replies sounds cold and tried. So be it. Harry the Mistress safely in all the matters, but should you fail, our agreement is finished. Fair enough, and that will continue. Not today.